So several years ago, I recorded a song that I got off a Marty Gross record, which is called "The Lady's in Love with You." And I had a request from somebody to do a lesson video on that song. And since I'd recently kind of dug this one up to put it back into my repertoire, I thought that would be fun to do and a good way to show some swing guitar playing things to some people. So what I'm doing here is based on that other video for the most part. Some things have been improved with 4 or 5 years now of improvement in my listening ability and playing ability. So what I'm going to do is based on that tune. So just go back to that recording as a reference, and most of what you're going to see here will match that. That way I don't have to try to play through the whole song and do that on this video. We can just get right to it. So the introduction is just single notes right here. So we have, and then follow that with this little chromatic walk up of chords from D9, E flat 9, and E9. These are just basic 4-note shapes you play on the middle 4 strings. So that voicing stays identical for each one of these. So we start again. Same exact thing up, 2 frets. From E, F, F sharp. So, for the chords. And then the next part of this introduction, we have these 13th chord voicings. So these, we have B13 with this voicing to E13. And then we move the whole thing down a whole step, or 2 frets, to A13, to D13, and then we move to G13, so E flat 9, same voicing as we had at the very beginning of the introduction, and then D9. So let me just play that thing again so you can try to put it together now that you have the voicings. This one's a little tricky to get up to speed just because of how you're having to move between these voicings. Remember that Marty Gross tunes, his 4 highest pitch strings are tuned the same as a plectrum banjo. So they're on a plectrum banjo, these 2 outer strings on a 4-string banjo, plectrum banjo, not tenor, would be tuned a whole step down from what they are on the guitar. So that gives Marty a little bit, perhaps, more capacity for playing certain voicings more easily. But in general, with standard tuning, you can get quite close to what he's doing, which I feel like I did in this tune for the most part. So that's the introduction. So we've done this. We get into the meat of the song now. And for the most part, what I'm doing on the main part of the song, the A and the B section, is I'm just playing these 4-note, what I call rhythm chords, or rhythm voicings. So these are the chords that you have your root or 5th or something else, depending on if we're using other inversions, on the low E string. We mute the A string, and then we just play the G, B, and D strings for the rest of the chord's notes. So this song starts out here in the A section. We have A7, D7, G6. Then we repeat it again. A7, D7, and G6. And then for the B section, we move up here. So this is where things get a little bit tricky for the fingerings, and where Marty's tuning may be a help in some of the way he's able to voice this. So what we have here, starting in the B section, is this D minor 7 chord. That one's straightforward. D minor 6. And then we have this just straight D minor chord. But the 5th is played down here. So it's a little bit of a stretch. So again, this B section starts out D minor 6, D minor 6, D minor 7, D minor 6, and then we go to G7, and then C6, and then C minor 6, C7, C minor 6. So we have almost the opposite thing. It's similar, but it's just the opposite. We have this thing down here. So it's just moving up instead of down. So let me do this B section again from the start. So D minor 7, D minor 6, D minor 6, D minor 7, D minor 6, G7, and then C6, then C minor 6, C minor 7, C minor 6. Then we go back to this A7. Sorry. So we go from the C minor part here, we go then to A7 again. Then D7, F7, E7. You note the D, F, and E are all the same voicing again. And now we go to an A minor 7 to D7, back to our C6. So that's the entire form of the song, the A and the B section, and the intro. And I think what a lot of people are probably more interested in, besides the basic layout of the song, the fun stuff we can get into is stuff like this. So a lot of what you hear in my recording and on Marty's original recording of this is a lot of moving through chord inversions. And that's part of the fun, I think, about swing guitar. When you have a few bars available to play the same chord, you can start running things like, let's say, chromaticism here. One thing I did in that original recording, I remember, we do play the A, and then the D7, and then I have just the same exact voicing shape, just moved down a half step and then up a half step. And it walks right back into that A. Another thing that you'll hear in swing guitar. So for this part I'm going to drop down actually to 3-note voicings, 3-note rhythm voicing. So I'm going to leave that B string out of this one. So let's say we play through this once. Come back to that A7, I can do this. And then we can move up to the D7. So what I'm doing here is we're just moving through. This is another old trick you hear a lot in swing guitar playing. And I'm trying to think of what I would actually call these things here. So here you have, it would be like what would this be actually? This would be obviously A7. This looks like E minor 7. This is a B flat diminished voicing. And then here we have an inversion of A. Right here, we have the C, A, and E. C sharp, A, and E here. So we're really just moving through like diatonically, and And a lot of this just comes from listening too. You start hearing enough of this stuff through listening to enough records, it's like, oh, okay, this is what is going on here. So the fingering is really simple too. And then I repeat that if I wanted to. I can repeat that same exact thing up here on the D7. So that's another way to run inversions to make things sound more interesting. Or we can do another thing that we could do would be this. So let's say on our G6 or G major chord, we could do a similar thing with running inversions up. So we could do... Or with any of these chords, really, we can run, and that's what I did with this tune, is run like chord inversions up. And that's just something that's something that comes with the territory of playing swing guitar that I like so much, is this use of inversions. It's something that often isn't taught in a lot of guitar playing. People don't put these inversions to use, but they create a lot of movement, and it sounds good. So that kind of covers the basic playing, let's say if we're singing over this song, right? And the other part of the song that's a lot of fun is improvising over it. So I think in the original video, I'm not sure what I did, but what my approach to improvisation, I think we will try to cover that in another video, actually, because I think this one's probably running too long as it is. So that, hopefully, and I could clarify some other things too, but this is kind of a first attempt at doing a little bit of a lesson video on some swing guitar concepts here, using the Ladies in Love, and hopefully we can hopefully I can do some other videos soon here for some other songs. But I think I'll do a second part here to this video where we'll cover what am I thinking for the soloing, or how did that come about. So look for that one too. Thanks.